All right, Nika. The Bears have signed a lot of undrafted free agents, and we are talking about it all right now.
Ladies and gentlemen, can I please have your attention?
This bullet just handed to me.
And I need all of you to stop what you're doing and listen.
Yes, indeed, this is Breaking Bears right here on the Nika Sports Channel. But first, it's time to jump.
Might as well jump. Go ahead and jump.
Yes, indeed, if this is your first time here, we are asking you to jump on in. Like this video, subscribe to the channel, and ring that bell for our official mascot, Frexy. Check out that puppy. She is just adorable, and she brings so much joy into our lives. Look at how happy she is. Nika?
Oh, she's a lovely little pup.
She's the best, and we hope you enjoy seeing her just as much as we do.
Thank you.
All right, Nika. Well, the Bears are done drafting, but they were not done shopping, everybody.
Hell yeah!
That's because the NFL has a period after the draft where teams are allowed to sign undrafted free agents. And this is a really interesting part of the draft, actually, because you see a fast, furious frenzy of activity.
If you ain't first, you're last. You know?
Looking to shore up their bench, shore up their roster, their practice squads. This is where a lot of these players are going to end up. These are depth pieces and or practice squad players that might be hoping to have a job down the line.
The Bears. The Bears.
The first one is Caden Barnett, everybody, also known as the Vanilla Gorilla. What a nickname. He is from the University of Wyoming, and he is an offensive guard. And we could be very well looking at Joe Tooney's future replacement, everybody.
So he's a depth.
This guy was on some people's draft boards in the 150s, you know, and like the fact that he did not get drafted at all is a huge coup for the Bears.
Welcome aboard.
He's a really interesting guy, by the way. The one reason why there's some optimism that the Bears might have bigger plans for him than just the ordinary undrafted free agent is because of the amount of money that he's being guaranteed. $277,000 plus $500 and a $30,000 signing bonus.
Oh, so he's most likely making a roster or a depth.
True. And there is some thought and wisdom out there that he may be on the 53-man roster.
Okay.
We'll have to wait and see. Interesting pickup here for the Bears.
The Bears. Ah, the Bears.
Another common theme here with Caden, that is his RAS score. 9.54 out of 10. He is ranked 82 all time out of 1,780 since 1987. Top 100. It really looks good on paper. Lots of green here on here. And you're going to notice that the height and weight are considered a little low. And the bench press was also in the red. So don't love that. But
that can always be improved.
yeah, now, like I said, this guy was on some draft boards. And I want to draw attention to an interview that I found with Justin Mello from Sports Illustrated. This was from April 5th. So a little under a month ago before the NFL draft, in the lead up to the NFL draft. And the headline reads, "Why Caden Barnett suddenly has surging NFL draft attention." So he was moving up on the draft boards, apparently. But I want to draw your attention to a couple of quotes from this article because they had me doing double takes, Nika. This is Justin here asking. He says, is Caden Barnett athletic in space or powerful in a phone booth if you had to pick one? And Caden's answer here says, oh, powerful in a phone booth, without question. I like to punch somebody in the mouth right off the ball. That's how I play the game. That's my style of play. I always say I was meant to play football in the 1980s or 1990s. That's the era of football where you could really let it loose. Laughs. That's what I'm meant to do. He's going back to, you know, my childhood era where the game was a lot dirtier, I would say.
More physical.
A little bit more physicality that went unseen. Things that happened between the lines, underneath the piles, those kinds of things.
Mm-hmm.
It's a damn shame. A damn shame.
The only thing I'm concerned about reading some of this is like, how many penalty flags is this guy going to get us?
Hopefully none.
Building on that, what was your favorite play to run in the playbook? And Caden Barnett says, there's a couple of plays that come to mind. My two favorites, I definitely love the power game. Anything with a gap scheme, really. With power, that means I'm putting my face right through another dude's face, right off the ball. Hell yeah! He really loves football, but more than that, he loves running through people. and you kind of want that in an offensive lineman.
You do.
Or maybe I can kick out and showcase my athleticism in space and run through somebody's face.
Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained?
He's making rhymes here about his play style. I love the pin and pull as well. Now, that's kind of like a pick and roll in the offensive line world from basketball, if you're familiar. That's a lot of fun because you get to go down block on somebody right off the ball.
If you ain't first, you're last. You know?
I'm sensing a common theme here that this kid, Caden Barnett, really loves to hit people as soon as the ball is snapped.
Well, you know what? He picked the right profession.
The Bears.
I can get out in space and run one or two people over. I can create a rushing lane for my running back. They close out this interview and saying, there's a lot of interest in you, and it's easy to see why. Why should a team use one of their NFL draft picks on Caden Barnett? And he says, I believe I have unlimited potential. I'm going to strive to reach my ceiling. I came into college very raw. I'll always put my best foot forward. I'm a very tough player. I love running through a defender's face. I'm always getting better.
Well, that's fantastic.
Hopefully they can keep this kid under control just enough to where he's a menace on the field, but not for the referees.
Looks like meat's back on the menu, boys.
All right, Nika, number 2 on my list was Jaden Loving, everybody. And the Bears signing Wake Forest defensive lineman Jaden Loving. He is 6'2", 317 pounds, and he posted numbers at his pro day that would have led nearly every defensive tackle at the combine. And I have to say, that would be quite a feat considering Jordan Vandenberg was second out of all the defensive tackles in history since 1987. But when you look at the RAS score, Nika, it was a 9.93. So he was just a little bit behind Jordan's perfect 10 out of 10. But still very, very high indeed. Lots to like here on this RAS score. It says short and with short arms isn't great, but having 85th percentile or greater in every other test is pretty promising. Since it's catchy to do so these days, let's just throw out an Aaron Donald comp and see if it sticks. I like what the Bears have done here by bringing this kid in to play with Jordan Vandenberg to compete with the existing defensive tackles on the roster and push those guys.
So we're going to have tryouts.
The reason why we're talking about Jaden Loving here is because he got the other sizable contract here in the undrafted free agent market from the Bears, $245,000 total guaranteed, including a $20,000 signing bonus. And you can see the tweet here from Courtney Cronin. Loving had 8.5 TFLs, 2.5 sacks in his lone season at Wake Forest after transferring after 2 years at Western Kentucky. Kind of interesting.
Okay.
This is from Irie Pooley at Irie Pooley NFL. There's no doubt that a team will take a chance on Wake Forest defensive tackle Jaden Loving. 9.92 RAS at Pro Day. I think we saw 9.93 according to the official card. And they kind of rehashed that he had a 4.72 40-yard dash first among combine defensive tackles, 7.15 three-cone, that was first, a 4.53 short shuttle, that was first, a 35-inch vertical, that was second, and a 9 feet 5-inch broad jump, that was fourth amongst defensive tackles. So another very athletic kid that the Bears are taking a chance on here late after the draft.
The Bears. The Bears.
But I like it. I like bringing in these kinds of athletes to challenge the existing roster. And also, I think these players are going to be more coachable. Hell yeah! To put into our existing schemes than someone who's not as athletic, I'm sorry to say.
So we're gonna have tryouts.
Yeah. Well, it's a common denominator, athleticism, for this draft class for the Bears.
And the Bears roster in general, the makeup of it, you know, it seems like that's the direction Ben Johnson wants his team to be in. Fast, more intense.
Yep, faster, more intense.
Indeed.
If you ain't first, you're last. You know?
I wanted to run through some of the rest of these signings here, just really rapid fire style. We got Jaron Kump. He has signed from the University of Utah, the Utes. Quarterback Miller Moss is signing from Louisville with the Bears, Nika. And what's interesting about this is Miller Moss played with Caleb Williams at USC for a season.
So he's competing for the third spot, most likely.
Correct. And you read something interesting that he could be a eventual Tyson Bagent replacement.
Based on his, performance on the rookie camp, I guess.
Yeah, and a quick note about that. I do think Tyson Bagent's window to get traded is running out rapidly because the 2027 draft class is already being marketed as this great quarterback class.
This is just the beginning.
People are going to be like, well, do I want to play with Tyson Bagent or do I want to get a new shiny toy in the draft? And I think the latter prevails a lot of times.
I guess it depends on the team's needs at that moment. You know, if it's a project quarterback or is that existing quarterback that is you can just slide it in to a starting position.
Miller Moss is 24 years old. He threw for 2,679 yards with 16 touchdowns in 2025 for the Louisville Cardinals, everybody.
All right.
All right. Next on my list is Gabriel Placentia. And I think I'm saying that right. And he is signing with the Bears per his agent Cameron Patterson of Disruptive Sport. This was the San Diego State kicker. And a couple interesting things about him. He's left-footed. Love that as a lefty.
Are you not entertained?
Just don't see a lot of left-footed kickers out there. This dude's kind of thick, Nika. 6 foot 240. You don't see a lot of big-bodied kickers out there.
Holy shnikes.
He might not be on the 53-man roster every week because, you don't need 2 kickers on the roster generally.
But you want to have a backup just in case.
You do. And, I think the Bears are in line for one here, an upgrade.
The Bears.
He said on his own Twitter feed that he is ready to work. So we welcome Gabriel with open arms to Chicago.
Welcome aboard.
The Bears are signing Tulane cornerback KC Eziomume per agent Christopher Miles of 2 Live Culture. That's a fun agency name, Nika. Coleman Bennett is signing with the Bears. This is an undrafted running back. He comes from Kennesaw State University. His RAS score was 5.10 out of 10, so not quite the athleticism that we were getting with our draft picks and the other 2 undrafted free agents who got all the guaranteed money. Skyler Thomas is signing with the Chicago Bears, another safety prospect. He was also high on some draft boards, at least was expected to be drafted, so the Bears might have gotten lucky here.
The Bears.
We got another wide receiver from Florida State University, Squirrel White. Now, a lot of people just want to see him make the team just because his name is Squirrel.
Does he have a little mascot as a squirrel?
I don't know, but I think we should make him one, everybody.
Yeah.
So, he can. The squirrels and bears get along, right?
I don't know.
I think the squirrels could outrun the bears, so.
Sure. Well, let's go with that.
They live in peace and harmony. All right. The Bears have signed Beau Gardner as an undrafted free agent. Gardner attended Falcons and 49ers local day leading up to the draft. The interesting thing about Beau Gardner is he is the 2025 Patrick Mannelly Long Snapper Award winner in all of college football. Hell yeah! Bears fans will, of course, recognize the name Patrick Mannelly because he was our long snapper for 14 years, everybody.
So he's competing for the long snapping job.
He is, and he may get it, actually.
So we're gonna have tryouts.
New signing, competition. We know how Ben Johnson feels about tryouts. I just wouldn't be surprised to see Beau Gardner win this job before the training camp is said and done. We got Hayden Large, everybody, and that is a great name for a tight end.
No kidding.
He's out of the University of Iowa, so he was lining up with Logan Jones, our new center, perhaps, of the future. His RAS score was quite high, 8.92 out of 10. He ranked 158 out of almost 1,500 tight ends that have been evaluated since 1987. And then we have Michigan State wide receiver Amari Kelly, who signed. And to round it out, Mason Murphy, an offensive lineman from Auburn, was also signed by the Bears. He was an American Bowl player this past season.
Okay. Anybody else that you left off?
That was it for the undrafted free agents. And I also mentioned earlier that the Bears have invited a number of other players that were not drafted to try out for the team.
So we're gonna have tryouts.
And there's a huge laundry list of players that we are not going to go through, but we are going to mention one name because it's a little bit of a feel-good story for Bears fans out there, and that is Josh Kreutz, center from Illinois. And that last name should sound very, very familiar because he is indeed the son of Bears Hall of Fame center Olin Kreutz.
The Bears. The Bears.
And he has been invited to minicamp to try out for the team. As you can see here, not the best RAS score when you compare to the rest of the Bears that have been drafted, 3.91 out of 10. So he's not as athletic as the rest of the Bears draft picks, but I am going to make a bold prediction and say Josh Kreutz will somehow find his way onto the practice squad for the Chicago Bears as just a, feel-good story and maybe even a gift to Olin. And it's something that I think
But he can also
deserved.
improve, by being around the good players and pick up some pointers from coaches.
I would say, I think it's because of who his dad is that he's almost earned this opportunity in a sense. Olin Kreutz was always undervalued when he came out of the draft, and yet he became a Hall of Famer.
So you're telling me there's a chance?
But Olin Kreutz did that because he had a really good work ethic, folks. And if his son has that work ethic, I think that's a good thing for the Bears to take a gamble on here. Because like you said, maybe he does get better. Maybe he develops into something that nobody ever saw coming. Tom Brady was the last pick of the draft.
If you ain't first, you're last.
How many times do we have to say it? Coaching matters. And Ben Johnson wants to teach. He is one of those coaches that sees himself as a mentor to others.
Absolutely. So I'm excited and happy for Josh Kreutz to get this opportunity and for the whole Kreutz family, to be honest, because I'm sure it's a bit exciting for him to get to be a part of the Bears in this capacity and keep the tradition going, if you will.
The Bears.
Good luck to all those Bears that are trying out for the team. May you find your way onto the practice squad or maybe even a backup position. Who knows? I'm all for surprises. I like them. But in the meantime, you got a week to go, everybody, before Bears rookie minicamp officially begins. And we are going to be here covering all of it right here on the Nika Sports Channel, everybody. Stay tuned.